What's going on, Dominated? David Dominated is here, and I am pissed off because I just made this video and it won't work. I've made this video a few times, so let's just get it off the bat right here, right now. So listen up and listen good. People are mad at me because I didn't post um, a power ranking video. I tried making it 3 times, but I can't do it on without my PC. I can't do it without this setup. I tried to do it on my computer. My laptop didn't work. So I stopped doing it because after trying 4 times and my mental health going crazy because of school, I decided not to go for it and I decided not to do it. If you have a problem with that, my apologies. But unless I'm not going to put my effort and my mental state into making a video 12, 15 minutes over and over and over and over when it's not working and I'm having struggles for only for it to get a few views. And I know that sounds shitty and it kind of like makes me look like a bad guy, but it's true. I'm not gonna put my mental health and my stress myself out because I want to make this video for it to get out for only a couple hundred people to watch. No, I'm not gonna do that. So you guys are gonna get every other week videos. If you like it, there you go. If you don't, sorry. I tell you guys all I do. I'm gonna have watch along streams. I'm gonna have all this. Follow me on all that shit, and you'll figure it out. And once again I apologize, but we're not doing power ranks. We're just gonna do week reviews. So 2 and 3 is this video. Let's get into it. I'm going all in. So if you have a problem with language and everything else, get the hell out. Because I'm not holding back. We're going to talk about the good. We're going to talk about the bad. We're going to talk about things that need to get fixed, things that need to get changed. Change. We're going to talk about it. Change. Ass. Problems. We're going to talk about it right now. We're going to go into week 2 first. Battlehawks in Seattle. First off, there's a reason why Allegiant Stadium was not a stadium for the Vegas team, because they were worried that the tickets wouldn't sell. Now you're going to hear me. I will mention this in a few minutes because a lot of people have been pissing me off about these facts about the ticket sales, and a lot of USFL go-getters and against the XFL, and just a lot of people that don't care for spring leagues. And I'm going to talk about it. Ticket sales have been a problem. The only one that doesn't sound like a problem is the team that hasn't even played a home game yet. That's St. Louis. I get confused when I'm looking at myself. St. Louis sounds like they're already opening up their upper bowl and they're almost sold out. That stadium should be loud, packed, and exciting. And I can't effing wait. They have a decent team. They could probably take the second spot because it looks like it's going to be a go-to with these two teams in the division, unless one of them falls off and one of the other two steps up. But both of the other two teams are literally the exact same team, so I would not be shocked if the other two went into the playoffs. St. Louis is going to be fun. When they played Seattle, that game was decent. A rough first quarter, rough third quarter. The second and fourth were good football. Good plays. St. Louis took the victory in another comeback, and it was great. It was a great game, and I enjoyed it. But the fans were not really in attendance. It's a big stadium, not a lot of fans. Now, that's a problem. I'm going to explain to you in a bigger case, but for the Vipers, because I have a reason why I think the ticket sales aren't selling. I'm going to explain it to you from a Vegas native, and I understand why. But that game was fun. That game was interesting. Fans were it was weird because there was snow like the day before, so it was very wild. So now the Vipers in DC. Automatically, when I started seeing pictures of this thing, I said, this field looks like dog shit. The field looks awful. The setup looks awful. Why didn't we just play at Bishop Gorman? Because at least it's a football field. Why are we playing in this piece of shit? And I just don't understand why we're doing it. a part of me was like, wonder if they just didn't want to be so far away from the strip. And even though Cashman isn't even on the strip, maybe they just wanted it to be a good view, a good something. No, because they don't even show. When they show the city, they show the city with the cameras, and then when they show like what's around them, it's not much. I will explain to you why. A few reasons why I think ticket sales have been down the first 2 weeks. Because in my head, I was like, damn, this is a tiny stadium. They could probably feel it. Number one, everyone was saying the weather. I think those were just the people trying to protect the XFL. No, it was raining all week. Everyone knew all week it was raining. Here's why I think that affected ticket sales, though, a little bit. Because ticket sales for the Vegas team didn't come out until a week before they fucking played. Like, two things happened. So, season tickets. Now, if you guys don't remember, and I swear to God this is true, and if you don't make me try to go back and get these fucking receipts, because I will. Every time they promoted the league, they had St. Louis, they had Seattle, DC, and all of the other teams except for Vegas as season ticket memberships. Vegas had to wait months and months and months until literally a week before the fucking season. And then they the week of the game they posted the single tickets. Now I get what people are going to say, but it was a Saturday. People should have already known. It should have been Monday to Saturday. People should have bought tickets, right? No, that's not how that fucking works. Because I've said it for days. I have said it for multiple videos. If you don't believe me, go back and check them. I have motherfucking receipts. I have receipts. And if you really just don't believe me and you just think I'm being a hypocritical liar, I don't know what to tell you. I'm sure I said it in multiple videos. I have made multiple videos of this shit. And when you look at it, dude, it's... literally, I have said it for the longest time that I think there's going to be a problem with ticket sales. I think there's going to be a problem with a little bit of a problem with attendance. The field was awful. Even week 2, everyone is like, "Oh, it looks better." Yeah, it looked better, but it wasn't good. I don't understand why they're playing on that. I don't know why they're playing there. Another reason, I didn't want to go to the first game. I don't know what told me not to, because I was looking at tickets all week, and I was like, should I buy them? They're cheap. Ah, man, I want to. I decided not to, because I was like, I've never been to Cashman. I don't know if I'm going to like the experience there. Now, you can call me a bougie motherfucker, because I am. I've been to places like T-Mobile and Allegiant, and when I've been to these multi-million-dollar fucking arenas, yeah, I'm gonna have my opinions on it. But I've been to many ballparks and all this other stuff. I assumed it was gonna be similar. I didn't want to go. And the rain was awful. Now, I think it made for an entertaining game. Because I've said it. Vegas' defense is decent. But their offense is dog shit. And you saw it in that game. They changed their quarterback after the last drive, and then they couldn't decide what quarterback to put in because it was way too windy. Because I don't think anybody understands that. It's windy a lot in Vegas, and the weather's just fucking bipolar. That's why a lot of teams play in domes because the balls travel. Like in baseball, like it's cut off mostly in our baseball arena to the wind. It's cut off a little bit, but like obviously like you don't really know in Allegiant because it's always closed door. And most of the time the wind, when it is windy and we open the doors, it's because it's coming from the other side of the arena. So I think weather wasn't really a big factor, but like shit was kind of in and out. What was irritating me was that was the first time we saw glitches. I think it was this game specifically. We just kept seeing glitches where like every time there was a flag on DC, it would say Vipers. I felt like it was programmed where Vegas, every time Vegas got a penalty, or DC got a penalty, it went for Vegas, and then DC it went, or whenever Vegas got a penalty, it popped up as DC got a penalty. Very confusing. And It was just a very rough game. It was enjoyable until the very end, just because you could tell where the game was going. Now, I'm not saying that's because, oh, you're just saying this because you're a fan and you're salty. No, I'm not. I am a fucking 100% unbiased. That is my whole gig. I want to be as unbiased as fucking possible. That is what I'm doing. I want to bring a platform to the world that is an unbiased person that is enjoying watching sports no matter is playing, no matter who is interacting with the game. I love all 8 of these teams. I can't wait until their jerseys are brought up because I'm buying all of them. I can't wait. But the Vipers were great up until the very end, and then once DC got a touchdown, you're like, this game's over. Like, there's no way. Vegas hasn't produced anything since the first half. Like, this is done, and I stopped watching. And then Brahmas versus Guardians, it was a similar thing where it was tied, and then it just got too far away, and then I was like, all right, I'm done watching. And then Roughnecks and Renegades was good up until the very end, and I watched that. And both teams are good. Houston's winning this championship. I'm already going to call what the championship game is. Either going to be St. Louis or DC. Probably going to be DC because I think they're the only other team that's 3-0. And yeah, and Houston should be a good game. Will be interesting when those two teams meet. I think there's still going to be a lot of interesting battles. Don't get me wrong, I'm still going to try to watch every game. But like Vegas and Orlando should be a very unique game on paper. But Vipers should win that game, you would think. Because these guys haven't scored more than like 15 points, I think. Let's see. They only scored 12 points in week 2. They scored 12 in week 1. So they can only score 12 to 14 points. This week they scored 9. So that was rough. Now, before I transfer into this, I want to talk about 2 things that happened during the weekend or during that game. There was a few big things that happened during the first week of the XFL. Not the first week, but the first section in game. Jeez Louise, I'm going off on everything. So the Renegades made 2 big choices to make their team even better by putting Kyle Sloter as their new QB, which I agreed with. I wanted that to happen after watching them struggle for 2 games, and Kenneth Farrow, who I thought was going to be interesting to the lineup. Who immediately when I saw them pick him up, I said, Vegas, teams that are struggling need another running back to try to make something different, and it hasn't happened. And it makes you think about the preseason moves that some of these teams made could have affected them. Like Vegas, should they have not gotten rid of oh my god, I already forgot the guy's name. The guy who played for the Philadelphia Stars. I already forgot his name. Boston Scott. Brian Scott. Would this team be different if he was playing? I probably think so. Because he brings something that Perez didn't, which was mobility. Some of these guys and some of these teams could have been in a very different circumstance. But anyways, because I said this video would be long, those 2 moves happened. But one of the biggest things happened during this weekend. There was an update, and there was a report of accusations against the quarterback, Quentin Germaindy? Probably butchered that name. The report said he discussed how he would not be playing with the Orlando Guardians Week 2 game, as the team had opted the route of the backup quarterbacks behind their starter, Paxton Lynch. Head coach Terrell Buckley has decided that both backups would be scheduled to take snaps in the first 2 games, with only the other guy taking it in the first game and Francois taking the second game. The fact was revealed on the ESPN broadcast that has something Buckley told ESPN field reporter. It was clearly not a secret. So that was because that's what they said was completely false. Even though in the broadcast today, they said that they were looking into it, which is very interesting for once you get false claims. But when I read that, I was in shock. I said, how in the... Because your career's done after that. These allegations are so much a problem for him. Because if these allegations become true, and they are true, your playing career is done. You're getting a second chance, and you literally threw it away. No team will sign you. No team is going to sign you if that's how you act, if you're not the starter, and if that's how, like, NFL teams won't look at that and be like, oh, if the backup is mad that he's the backup and not the starter, or at least the backup's to the starter, he's going to give our playbook to someone else. That's a problem. Until we figure out what happens, give the man the benefit of the doubt. But yeah, that was confusing because I saw a report that they were false, and then during the game today they said that they might be true, so it was freaking me out. Anyways, Saturday, I think this week was better. I kind of like the Thursday game, but it was just something where I just don't. I liked it better when it was 2-2, where there was 2 games and 2 games. I didn't like it where it was 1-1 and 2. It just felt weird. Today felt great having 3 games and 1 Saturday, because that Saturday feels like that prime time game, I guess. And it was a good game, Seattle and Vegas. We knew it was going to be a good game. 2 teams that are very similar. 2 teams that are playing the exact same. They both could play a first half. They can play a second half worth of damn. And that is something that is interesting. I think this is my hot take, because this is probably the second time this week. Do you blame the team or do you blame the coach? Now hear me out. Towards the end of that game, now yes, Vegas completely got destroyed. They had at one point a really good lead. Seattle keeps going for 3 and missing. I mean, I get it, go big or go home, but at this point you should probably change your strategy. Vegas, all they needed was a touchdown. They won the game. And I know that there were less than a minute left. But what was very confusing to me is that they just kept letting time drain, while Vegas still had 2 timeouts. And I think they only ended up using one of them towards the end of the game. But it was just very stupid. Like, I think the Guardians did the same thing today. One of the teams did the same thing today, where it was just poor management of the timeouts. I think the Battlehawks did it. I think the Battlehawks did it too, where it was just. I think it's because that's where the rules start confusing them, where it's like, okay, well, this stops the clock, this doesn't. So I think it freaking messes with their mind. But I think that Rod Woodson kind of screwed his team, because I think they could have gotten, if they got momentum and drove down the field, they would have gotten at least another play or 2 down. But they didn't use their timeouts properly. I think they still would have lost, which is kind of screwed, because you now can't lose one more game. I am convinced in this league right now that you can't lose more than 4 games, or you're not making the playoffs at all. So teams like Houston and DC, perfect positions. Being 4-0 or 3-0, but you have to wait. The Vipers have they gotta go against DC again. Now, who knows what happens there? They're probably gonna lose. If they couldn't beat them with bad weather, they probably won't beat them with good weather. But you lose that game, you're pretty much done. You still have a slight chance. If you win the rest of the games this year, you could probably make the playoffs, but that means you're hoping that the other teams also fail. So it's going to be interesting to see. Battlehawks and Defenders game was really good. At one point, I kind of was like, all right, this game is getting a little too out of hand. Guardians and Renegades was a very slow game. You're going to have them. But, yeah, it didn't heat up until the end. Renegades and Brahmas, it was good until, honestly, it was good up until the 4th. and then it just did. It wasn't. It was just the defense. So, um, here's the two things I want to talk about before I talk about next week's games. The concern, right? Here's what my biggest pro and con of the XFL was these 3 weeks. They had a great opening first week, I think. Week 2, I think it was okay, wasn't great. Week 3 got better. You saw the atmosphere in DC when they got their beer snake back. It looked great. One of the best fan bases for now, because I think the moment we see these boys and we see all of the St. Louis fans, St. Louis is automatically going to tank over DC. They're going to say, "Here, beer steak, we got freaking cookies." All right? That's what we got. We got Girl Scout cookies, so F off. So I think that they're going to have the best atmosphere in the league, but DC does have good fans, and I think that they've been showing. I think that, it sucks because when they show certain angles, it looks bad. Like in the Orlando game, the 2 goalposts looked filled, but then in like one of the sections, but the moment you looked at the other section, there was no one. And I think that though that's kind of things that kind of ruin it. But I mean, like, they're still making a profit, I think, which is good. Like, they're making a profit, but I think it's just gonna be rough. For the people, this is also another thing, that people that have already said that teams like Vegas, Orlando, and I think Seattle, they don't deserve franchises. Mainly Vegas. People were saying Vegas doesn't deserve a franchise because people aren't going to the games. And I explained why. Like I said with the tickets. I also said they haven't been promoting the league, right? We see a commercial here and there. But we never really truly saw a big commercial on like a big stage. Like if they had one during the Super Bowl, you probably would have gone a shit ton of fans. And I don't remember seeing one. I think there might have been one, but I don't remember. But even then, I think that that's too late. You can't, like, if the city of Vegas promoted these guys every time there was something new, kind of like I was doing, where it was the logo reveal, the uniform reveal, where they were going to play, then that's rough. You needed to keep promoting it week after week after week, day after day. Like, we didn't see that. And I don't think I mentioned this. And I will now. I was concerned there wasn't going to be fans. Not because of all the things I said. I don't think I mentioned this. When I went to the XFL draft event, and I met Rod Woodson after, at the Vegas, fan meetup thing, whatever. It was only me, my dad, and another couple. That was it. So everyone else was personnel. Everyone else was this, that, and the other. There was one other fan there who I think was even in with the Vegas game versus Seattle, wearing all the Seattle gear. So that was really it. And I knew that there was going to be a problem because that means they didn't promote. That means people didn't get the promotions. And it was just rough. So, I mean, like, I think give these teams time. I don't think you give up on 1 year. I don't think, and that's another thing for people that was like, why Vegas? Why Vegas? Vegas isn't going to work. A few things, I think that The Rock said that this franchise is a key point in why the XFL will be successful. Is that because of the betting? I don't know. More likely, yeah. But they need to change something. I think next year they can't play at Cashman. Or they can play at Cashman if they could figure out a better setup. Which is obviously taking care of the field. I think if they take care of the field, you automatically will win fans just by having a good presented field. But, like, they can't play there more than 2 years. I can handle them playing 2 seasons there, this year or next year. I can't handle if they play a third year. They need somewhere different. They need to work out a deal with Sam Boyd and the Raiders and somebody so they could freaking play. And UNLV. First, you have to go to the Raiders and then UNLV to use that stadium. Or just use Bishop Gorman. At this point, any high school stadium. And I don't remember if I mentioned this. I probably did. But that place is in the ghetto, too. That's another reason why I didn't want to go. I'll be honest. I was like, oh, it's there? Not the best neighborhoods. Like, it's not terrible, but it's not the best either. But should be interesting, should be fun. Real fast before we hit the 30-minute mark. Roughnecks and Guardians, my apologies. Should be very interesting. I think it's funny because we have the last time there was a team in Houston, they were undefeated. The last time we had a team in Florida, they fought each other. It was actually a really close game. This game is probably going to be enjoyable for the first 5 minutes because after that game's going to be fucking awful. So who knows? The Guardians might pull up. Their defense played very well week 3. So maybe, you never know, they might create turnovers and create chances. But that game just feels like it's going to be way long gone by halftime. Brahmas in Seattle will be fun. That should be a fun game. Like I said, Seattle kind of like found their feet in the second half. Because Vegas slowed down and they just took advantage. I think that Seattle and the Brahmas will be a fun matchup. So pay attention to that one specifically. Renegades and Battlehawks will be amazing, I think. I think Battlehawks will win this game with crowd noise alone. I think it's just going to be wild. I wouldn't be shocked if they have a few trick plays to get the fans hyped up. Should be fun. Vipers in DC, same as the first game that starts out of the week, an 0-3 team going against a 3-0 team. Could be interesting. I think both defenses are going to be great. I think if Vegas could somehow fix their offense in 1 week, they'll have chances. Now, I always am interested in what's going to happen. So you look at the teams that are 1-2 and 2-1, and they're probably thinking to themselves, what are our problems so we can just keep winning? These 0-3 teams are going to have to make a drastic move or two to hope that they can get this. So it's going to be interesting to see. I think defenders take this by a while too. I think in the beginning it'll be close. We might see a little comeback by one of the teams. More likely a little comeback by Vegas. Because then people will be like, oh, maybe they found their stride. And then DC will just take a big shit on them and be like, no, motherfucker, we're still better. So Roughnecks and DC should be fun. And, I just can't wait for that. So they just need to stay undefeated for 2 more weeks, because in week 6 it will be DC versus Roughnecks. So that will be very interesting. So that's going to be it for me. And week 5 we could be seeing a double 0-4 team, because that week is also going to be interesting because we have the Thursday Saturday game. But this week will be fun because we finally have 2-2 again. So I can't wait for that. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I'm sorry that I talked for so long. I'm not going to promise that these videos won't be as long, but when we just do the one, oh well, no, they will be 2, because we're going to have a week. Yeah, no. So I don't really know. Follow me on my Twitter, and mainly if you follow these 2 and you pay attention to the Twitter and Twitch, you'll figure out when I stream, because most of the time I will live react to the games. I don't know if I'll do that this week. Mainly probably not on Saturday, maybe the late game Saturday. And I probably will do it Sunday, to be honest. Look out for that. That's going to be it for me, though. I hope you like this video. Dominate the world. David Dominator is out. I'm going to be posting NHL trade deadline video and a few other crazy things also this week. So look forward to that. Like this video, like it, comment down below, dominate the world, XFL, here we go. Peace.